Hello, so a new toy to play with today. It's another Geiger counter. The video on it's going on tomorrow. I did an unboxing video of it still in all the old factory packaging. So by the look of it, the first person to ever use this, which is kind of cool, outside of, it being calibrated and all that. So yeah, this is a Chinese Type 75 Geiger that Hype managed to sort me out with. It had a very, very powerful check source in it, which I've taken out. But obviously, I imagine most of you in the chat want to talk about coronavirus. But during the stream, I do want to demonstrate the check source that came with this Geiger counter because it's fairly insane. But yeah, it came in a nice little leather carry case like that inside the factory packaging. Also had its old sort of manual with it. All that sort of stuff in it. So yeah, it was cool. Hype did it me for around £50, and that was with the postage and everything included, I think, if I remember right. So good evening to everybody. But yeah, it came with a check source that is basically, it's a massive bit of strontium-90 inside. Now, strontium-90 is quite hot. It's a beta emitter. But the bit of strontium-90 in this Geiger, bear in mind it's over 30 years old, and strontium-90 has a half-life of about 31 years. So it's not even next to the GM tube either. So you press the button in the middle, and basically what that normally does is it opens a little hatch inside that exposes the strontium-90 to the tube. It gets a reading of about half a Rontgen per hour when it was in there. So it would have been, when this was made, about 1 Rontgen per hour check source. However, if you get the strontium-90 out of it and put it directly on the Geiger tube from this, because it had a bit of lead shielding around it, so I took it out, 2.5 Rontgen per hour. So this was a 5 Rontgen bit of strontium-90 when it first came. So, yeah, a very, very powerful Geiger counter check source in this. No, this one doesn't click. It doesn't have a speaker on it. But, yeah, the check source with it would have clicked. This is just one so you can basically check how horribly irradiated you're getting. And of course, you don't ever want to see it do this when you're looking at it. If I can get that in focus. That's just me doing the circuit check or the battery check. But yeah, you never want to see the needle move like that. But yeah, works very well. A bit better today. Had like lots of stomach cramps and diarrhea this morning, but I think that was just stuff I ate yesterday not agreeing with me. Yeah, let me show you the check source that came with this, because you might find it pretty amazing. You know, I had that radium dial, and I was like, this is the strongest thing I've got. No, that's not the strongest thing I've got now. So, we'll open the beta window on the Terapy. Let's put the clicks on. I know this one beeps rather than clicks, but still. You might notice the background levels are quite high at the moment, like 10 times over normal. And that's because this is in the room and I've not put the shielding on it. Right, let me just get this out. This gives you a clue, doesn't it? But, right. So this is the check source that came inside it. A coin of strontium-90. I don't know if it will do anything funny if I put it over the camera. Okay, so watch the numbers on this. Ready? There we go, it's maxed out. Can't read it. So let me just turn the sound off that there. And let's go to dose. Right. Bear in mind, each one of these little numbers would be about 10 hours worth of background radiation. Ready? I've turned the speaker off now, but watch the numbers go up. Watch them go. Look at that. We're at 100 microsieverts already. So yeah, that's that strontium-90 source. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this where I'm not holding it, but during the rest of the stream, I'm going to put this down here on the floor. And then we can go and talk about Corona or whatever. And then what I want to do is see what the numbers are when we finish the stream. Bear in mind, 1 millisievert. Oh, thank you very much, Nintendo. Well, I'll read your comment in just a second. 1 millisievert. 2 millisieverts is about a year of background radiation, 2 to 3 millisieverts. And this is already at 200 odd microsieverts. So yeah, we'll go to the chat, and then when the stream ends in about an hour, we'll see how horribly irradiated we've been if you were holding it. Anyway, Nintendo Boy 12 said, just dropping some support. Thank you very much. Also found out my post office is still running, so with any luck, I should be able to ship it to you Monday, provided nothing goes wrong. Well, thank you very much, and I need to PayPal you for that, but he's found me a gas mask I've wanted for ages through contacts, so I'm really pleased about that. What, highest radiation, CM? Depends if you're exposed all at once or in a short term. Bear in mind, this is beta, not gamma rays. But let's say you're being exposed to gamma. Do you want the numbers in Rontgen? I'll give it you in both. They used to use a measurement called Rontgen. If you watch Chernobyl, that's the measurement they work on. I like using Rontgen because it's quite an easy-to-use measurement. But generally, sieverts or millisieverts, microsieverts are the numbers that we use today. Grays are another unit which is very closely tied into the sievert. So if we go off the old Rontgen units, about 100 to 200 Rontgen is where most people, if they received it in a short dose, would suffer radiation sickness. You know, their hair would start falling out, they'd be vomiting, they'd lose white blood cells. I think it affects both red and white blood cells, doesn't it, radiation poisoning? 500 plus Rontgen is where you have a very high expectancy to die of radiation poisoning, even with medical support. 1,000 Rontgen, pretty much you're guaranteed to die. In sieverts, there's 1,000 microsieverts in a millisievert, 1,000 millisieverts in a sievert. 1 sievert is very bad. 1 sievert is about equivalent to 100 Rontgen, about 114 Rontgen if you did the numbers to like the points. But so yeah, in sievert numbers, 5 sieverts and you're pretty much a dead man. So hopefully that's explained your little question about how much radiation does it take to kill you. But bear in mind, when people are normally referring to radiation poisoning like that, it's gamma rays. This is not producing gamma rays, it's producing beta, or beta. But gamma is like, you know, the equivalent, it's very similar to X-rays, where it just shoots through everything. I'm not a massive fan of 12 Monkeys, weirdly. I know loads of people love 12 Monkeys, but I was never a massive fan of it, in all honesty. Yeah, thank you, Gretchen. Don't forget to like the stream. It does help out everybody. Yes, don't ask me, should you buy a mask for that price, Snaked OG? If you can find a lag, Mark II or Mark III, for that sort of price, yes, get it. Thank you very much, Thomas. You said, should I buy a Terapy or a Terapy Plus? I've got the regular Terapy, Terapy Plus. For most people, I think the Terapy would be better. The reason being, the Terapy Plus shows you like the exact numbers, whereas the regular Terapy rounds them and puts like the microsievert, millisievert symbol on it. So I think for most people, it's much easier to read the interface on the regular Terapy. But where I've got the Terapy Plus is very good, but you know, if I think in hindsight, if I was to buy one again, and it's cheaper to get the regular Terapy, I get the Terapy, because a lot of the time when I share screenshots of the Terapy, people ask me what the reading is because they don't know how to translate the reading the Terapy Plus gives into like a, you know, a unit with the reading on. The particulate filter would pretty much last forever on it, Richard, on an FP5. The if you're exposing them from chemicals, who knows? It depends what the chemical is. Yeah, I've seen the Adrian Edmondson version of Chernobyl. That was very good until like the new series with the massive budget came and blew it out the water. Yeah, I'm doing better today, Planes, other than the fact my stomach's been horrible. But I did finally remember that the doctor recommended I go and get these from the pharmacy. So I bought some of those. That's the point. I'm meant to be having another one about this time of day. Now, I should have washed my hands because I'm going to be taking one of these out the packet without washing my hands after handling a beta source. So I'll tell you what I'm going to do. This will look this will look distracting in the chat. This will look probably weird on the chat, but I'm going to do it without touching the tablet. There we go. But they seem to be quite good for like IBS, IBD, stomach pain. There's what actually happened. Yep, the shadows in Hiroshima will real survive because it was where the heat flash from a nuke basically just scorched people's outlines onto buildings. The thing you have to sort of realize with nuclear weapons is they are basically the temperature of the sun, just in a much smaller area. So yeah, when a nuke goes off, there's a reason it turns sand to glass and does stuff like that. Sadly, no whiskey left. This is brandy. But yes, I just did take a tablet of brandy. I know you're not meant to take lots of tablets of alcohol, but what does it matter? Yeah, I've got ulcerative colitis, truth, love, and honour. So that's basically where you've got permanent stomach ulcers that will never go away because it's your immune system doing it. And I have medication and all that mitigates it. But the doctor said to me, try Buscopan. If that works well for you, they put me something on prescription, which is like a stronger prescription-only version. But he said it might work better for me as a painkiller than taking, like, you know, paracetamol combined with opioids combined with other medications. Right. Does anybody want to guess what the radiation reading is on the Terapy Plus at the moment on that strontium-90? Yeah, Buscopan is for pain relief, but ulcerative colitis and sort of irritable bowel pain relief, because bear in mind, nearly all my stomach pain comes from stomach cramps and like stomach contractions. But, okay. Right, the problem is the reading's going up so fast, but at the moment it is just about on 1.55 millisieverts. So for most people, that would be 3/4 of a year, like 9 months worth of background radiation since 10 minutes ago. Gives you some idea of how hot that strontium-90 is. And that's far enough away from the tube that it's not going to cause the tube to blank out. Because if I put it straight on the tube, it just basically can't read it. It knows it's higher than 9.99 millisieverts. Evening to everybody who's just coming on. It doesn't necessarily take 2 weeks, Nathan. It's because I think when it first gets into your body, it basically starts breeding in your lungs or replicating in your lungs, in the lung tissue. So what ends up happening is it takes, you know, a bit of time for it to get to a strong enough impact before you start really coming down with symptoms. I'd hope I'd survive, Casper. I mean, there's no way of knowing, is there, until you get it and either live through it or die. But I think it depends really how old you are and how many complications you have. Yeah, if you found an FM12 for that price, get it. Don't question it, get it. Because I didn't watch the one earlier, Operation Nightfall, but I watched the one yesterday where they basically said, oh, look, we got caught out with how stupid our idea of herd immunity was. Because I think it was Imperial College London did several models, and this is why the government got exposed, of what the numbers of fatalities would be like, right, on their herd immunity plan. On a best case scenario, they thought 250,000 people in the UK would die doing the government's old plan in the UK. And that was like on their best, you know, the best numbers they could get on several different models they modeled. You know, so they thought in reality it would probably be several million dead. You know, 250,000 was the best number they could get. If that stops businesses going under, that'd be great, Mr. Live Era, but it's going to be a fucking bad situation for a lot of businesses because they think this is going to go on for like 6 months to a year, don't they? Plus. And I know like lots and lots of companies, if they're like restaurant-based, you know, like basically entertainment-based businesses, they won't be able to put up with that. Thank you very much again, Nintendo Boy. He says, do you have any idea what the small plastic tool it came with might be, by the way? Does it sound familiar? I'm kind of curious. It's an oblong rectangle with round corners. The only thing I could think of is if it's something for removing parts of the mask, like it's a specialized tool for opening some sort of like proprietary screws. Also, some kinds of old military tech come. I know the C4 isn't old military tech, but they come with specialized screws. So another addition to the channel, although you've seen these all before, but there's some on eBay for sensible prices again at the moment, so I've been buying them. You know these, the MD3s, the updated Radiacs. See that there? Like these came with basically what was designed to be a screwdriver kind of tool for the unit. So there's like a bigger end and a smaller end, and the idea with these was basically if you wanted to work on it, you didn't need a screwdriver set, and you could put that there and like, you know, open the screws, you know, using the device that came with it. So it might be something like that. Although I always find, at least with these, that these can bend sometimes, or a regular screwdriver won't, because these are just made of out of aluminium, or as aluminum, as UD Yanks would call it. But yeah, I was really pleased to get some more Radiacs. Well, these aren't actually Radiacs. These are, well, they are Radiacs, but they're updated Radiacs, so MD3s. But some of these have calibration stickers on. Yeah, this is still calibrated. Oh, this one was limited calibration. The one I sold Bart earlier was the fully calibrated one that didn't have any failures with it, despite the age of the unit. But yeah, that's cool. Right, let's pop that back. I love the smell of these old bags, though. But yeah, there's that. So, and for the people wondering, yes, it does make the lovely old noise. So I can actually stick that down, can't I, while showing you the screen, because it will still cut through the thing. But that's one. So yeah, if that focuses. Yeah, that all works. I haven't actually put batteries in this one and tested it yet, but I'm sure it works fine. But yeah, so for anybody interested in the UK, I'll just mention this now on the subject of Geiger counters. If you search Geiger counter on eBay, these MD3s come up, and they seem to all be in working order. Bear in mind that basically what they are is the old British Radiacs have updated more modern electrical circuitry, and so you don't need weird obsolete batteries to power them. And they have modern resistors in, not like old vacuum tubes. But they yeah, to get one with the case for 35 quid, and that's with the postage included, is a bargain, because bear in mind this is like 5 kilos or something, 3 to 5 kilos. Oh yeah, good. Horrible. I've had that temporarily, but not as a chronic thing, planes. But yeah, that's horrible. But thank you. So yeah. Yeah, like the Papa kind of hood ones. Oh, another cool thing with these, I don't know if this will be obvious on the webcam. No, it's not going to be obvious enough on the webcam, but basically you can see the old stencil underneath. So yeah, I'm mostly looking for comments about radiation stuff, or what was it? Coronavirus to talk about, but if people have questions that are sensible, I'll read them out and answer them. Bit about a GZ, but I had like awful stomach cramps and diarrhea today, but I think that's just my regular what's it, ulcerative colitis / inflammatory bowel disease stuff, / irritable bowel syndrome. I don't think that was anything, related to corona. Glands, that one's still swollen. They've gone down a bit that side. They're swollen, but they've gone down a bit. Yeah, rate meters are good. You need a probe for them, Jack, because I've got a rate meter there. But if you can still find any for sale on eBay, you can either croc clip a probe onto them, like a Geiger probe that way. I'll show you how to DIY one in a minute. So let me DIY one first, because most people won't have an actual thing. So let's DIY one. So let me get a croc clip that isn't attached to anything. I should have some on here. Yeah. So yeah, here's an old Soviet, basically SBM 21s, whatever they're called. So what you do, before you put the tube on, go to EHT. That's the voltage. Then most Soviet tubes operate about 350 volts. So let's put that EHT down to about there. Thank you very much, Nintendo boy. I'll have a look a bit later, and I'll have a look later and PM you and see if I can work out what it is, but I don't actually know. So yeah, you put the plus end into that bit of the socket, or croc clip a thing on there. So let's do that. Push that guy in there. Then what we want to do is croc clip the casing of this old SBM tube to here like that. That'll work fine. And then turn him on. Go to GM. Click him on. Yep, there we go. It's working. That means the voltage is going a bit high, so I'll just turn it down a bit. But yeah, you could rig this up very easily with a Soviet tube. But yeah, rate meters are fine if you're asking about that. But yeah, they can obviously have proper probes screw into them. The problem is it's an obsolete probe format, so good luck finding the old mini monitor style Ludlum probes. Right, when it goes... Yeah, that's what I like about the rate meters hype, is they're just so easy to run on any probe. I think that's why they designed them like that, because I think it's the same thing the mini monitors did, although with the mini monitors you have to open the casing to adjust the voltage thing. But yeah, it's basically... yeah, you've just literally got a quick front adjust thing. I'll get the Type 75 out and show you in a second type. But yeah, the you basically put your probe on, look in your manual to see what the operating voltage is, set the operating voltage on the thing just using your thumbnail or a screwdriver to what you want the voltage to be. Switch it on to either, what's the other mode on it? Scintillator mode or Geiger counter mode, and then you're good to go. Right, so Type 75, where did I put it? There it is. So yeah, if you didn't come on the start, there's that. So I've obviously taken the check source out, so if I flick it on, it's quite a stiff switch. Oh, it is still on, that's why. So yeah, obviously that button doesn't do anything at the moment because I've taken out the check source from it, but the circuit check still works. But yeah, I've got the check source. I'll put this back up in front of the camera. Right, here it is. So this is in dose mode. Look at that number go. This is with a check source there. I'd say it's like probably 3 or 4 microsieverts a second. If we go on to dose, just so you can see the dose mode. Depending on where it's pushed against the GM tube. It should go all the way up to the thing and short out the tube. Again, it depends, because sometimes it, I think after the Geiger's been on long enough, it will just kind of adjust the voltage down to not short it. But I've got it quite a few times to go 99999, and then there we go. It's done it now with the audio on. Yeah, so yeah, like you said, good idea not to hold it in my hand too long, but yeah, look at those numbers fly. Yeah, when I put it directly on the tube inside the, what's it? Type 75, wherever I've put it, there it is. When I put this directly on the tube for the Type 75, when I had the casing open, 2.5 Rontgen per hour, and that's 30 odd years after it was put in there. So yeah, that was probably a 5 Rontgen plus beta emitting bit of strontium 90 in there. Infinity, here's what I think. I think it's going to fuck over a lot of businesses. It's going to kill a lot of old people. I think most people will be fine, but it's not going to be a good thing. What, is that a TV show? Is that a game? What, S. Baxter? I've already said snaked. No straps. Yeah, if you buy it, you can fit your own straps to it. It won't be very hard. FMJ05s are fine, especially if you get the military ones. The modern MF11s have quite crap straps compared to the old fabric ones, but yes, Operation Nightfall, because there'll be a lot less people to live in houses, and that's the short answer, because it's going to kill quite a lot of people. Not completely from scratch, Oliver. I've tried to make like homemade ion chambers and GM tubes, but I've never made a full stop sort of one. I really like the Terapy. I've got the Terapy Plus. Out of all the Geigers, it's the one I use the most, just because it's the hardest to overload. And it updates the fastest, and it has quite good battery life. Whereas the issue is with some of the Geigers I've got, obviously, is that they're for very sort of certain operating ranges. UV bulb for the front door should work fine. Saying that though, Survive, my local pharmacy is like totally out of painkillers now and cough medicine. Yeah, QWERTY, I was speaking about that earlier. That that's why the government changed their official thing, wasn't it? Because they basically got caught out on the best case scenario, 250,000 people would die within a year. So they basically then went, oh, actually, we've changed our mind, kind of thing. It depends what you mean by would a P3 filter fit. I think Chinese FMJ05s are GOST. It's generally 40mm NATO or RD40 for the export versions, as in the MF11s. So it depends what the screw thread is of the filter. Oh, yeah, the postmen are doing that now. Both Parcel Force, which delivered my MD3s today, and Royal Mail delivering my Type 75 from Hype, both of them did the thing where they put the parcel down on the floor, walk back from you, and just get you to confirm that you've seen them deliver it, and then they write it down, like rather than getting you to sign for it. Yeah, that's still stupid, George, isn't it? If they've literally got thousands of masks and will only give away like a tiny fraction of that. How long are you on YouTube? Do you mean how long am I streaming tonight? Probably another 30 minutes plus. How long have I been on YouTube to begin with? I think I started this channel in April 2012. Terapy's at 4.25 millisieverts now. So 2 years worth of background radiation in the course of 27 minutes. I generally do weightlifting and stuff, John, when I'm obviously feeling better, where I've had the flu type shit recently. I've just been resting because you are not meant to exercise when you're ill. But normally I just do some weights plus, working kind of blue collar jobs. Because I'm asthmatic, I don't do a lot of kind of cardio stuff just because it generally doesn't work out very well for me. If you're already asking that MN guy, you're probably infected if you live in the same house as him. Where I volunteer with the Blue Cross, they've told me not to come in this Thursday because where I had flu symptoms last week, like quite badly, they were saying, no, don't come in this week, give it another week just for the safety of everybody. Any idea why not planes? Because you're in the UK. I don't know why I wouldn't let you. Yeah, that'd be good hype. I mean, I really don't know until I go into work, and it might even be a couple of weeks down the line. They kind of see how it's going, but I know they've been telling a lot of staff, we don't need you in this particular week if you want unpaid leave, and a lot of staff probably think, fuck it, I don't want to go in anyway. Depends what extent of EMP, Ragley. If you mean a nuke went off in the distance somewhere, I'm sure it'd be fine. Modern electronics are kind of not Hollywood fucked. But it's hard to say because I don't think anybody's tested it. I've actually run my EMP near a 80 kilovolt electric sort of circuit and had no issues. Thank you, unknown. He said, I recommend having a look into Ludlum Model 12 when you can. It's super sensitive. It's not ancient, but it's still made of cast aluminium, very rugged. Let me have a look at that now. Oh, I know that one. I've looked into those on eBay. Right. Is that an ion chamber? Because it says it's a survey meter, or does it take a probe? Supports GM proportional scintillation type devices. So is this one that just has the probe plug into it? Because if it does, that is the exact same thing as the rate meters in terms of the range. Yeah, because this goes up to 500x 1,000. So what would that be? 500,000. So that goes up to 500 counts a minute. That does 5k counts per second. So they're very similar. So those Ludlum ones are pretty much just rate meters, but you can get those for like 20 odd quid. If I was in America, I'd definitely have got one of those Ludlum ones, but to have it posted because of the price of the unit, because of what it's made out of. Who was asking about police officers? I've missed something there. I didn't know about that, Yakov. So, I mean, yeah, obviously prioritizing medical things makes sense, doesn't it, under what's going on? But yeah, again, it's still going to hurt more industries. But I think at the moment there's no easy way out for a lot of people. What, that big one? Yes. But we've been over that for like a year since it's been on the wall. I think you'll only see power outages if a lot of people become ill working in substations and power stations. Oh, I've completely missed that then, Survive. But good thing I don't really need to buy anything off Amazon for a while, I guess. Should help me save money, because then I can't be tempted to buy stuff if they've not got it for sale. How often do I stream? Normally once a day. Not every day, but most days I stream every day. Alright, let's go on bloody Daily Mail then, and look up this thing on Amazon. Daily Mail wants to show notifications, and I block. I do not want them. Where's the Amazon thing on there? Then it's not on the front page from what I can see. Oh, Amazon is suspending shipments. Oh, I see. So it's as of now, as the warehouses clear out, they're using the warehouses to stock medical supplies, right? That makes sense. So it means, I guess, that if you've already got orders, that's fine. It's just they're not going to be restocking a lot of stuff. So yeah, by the sound of it, Good Cats, that will be absolutely fine. It sounds like from the mention of that article, once you read past the headline, it's the basically once stuff that they've got in stock sells out, they're going to be keeping that space at the moment in the short term for medical goods, so they can probably sell more thermometers, more blood pressure units, stuff like that. Yeah, and that would make sense as well. Survive, limit your range, so you're limiting the sales. Same old stuff, George. Most of my symptoms have been better today, although I've had the shits today, but I think that's a dietary thing of ulcerative colitis rather than anything else. No idea when people are going to stop panic buying toilet paper, but I know in Aldi, supposedly, Aldi's own brand of soft toilet paper is still in stock, even though it's quite soft. So if you go to Aldi, apparently you can get toilet paper, no issue. Unless you're trying to buy named brands, but it's not tracing paper toilet paper, so it's fine. No, I have no idea what Amazon Vine is. The only thing I know of Vines was like an old TikTok thing, wasn't it? Remember, I'm kind of boomerish when it comes to a lot of kind of Zoomer type internet video sites or stuff like that, because I have no interest in them. Cheers, Alex. What's the skull poster behind you? It is a Russian sign or a Soviet sign that's been reworded that says "Death to Western Spies." It's kind of a parody where it was repainted. But originally, I think it was just ones on power substations. But then it was ones where, I think B-Store had them in and with a kind of funny motto on, and Vladimir came on and actually realised what it said, so it is really saying that. Yeah, prepared, not scared, exactly, Gretchen. That's a very good thing. So Yakov says, we're officially in soft lockdown in Israel now. For now, they're hoping people comply with requests to only go out when needed, so they don't have to make the recommendation to orders. That's exactly what they're doing in the UK at the moment. As of yesterday in the UK, they basically said over 70 should stay home as much as possible and, isolate from people. And if, you shouldn't really go out to pubs, clubs, all that sort of thing. But at the moment, pubs, clubs, restaurants aren't being forced to be closed. But if they stay open and lots of people keep going to them, they're probably going to make it mandatory. Because I've seen a lot of footage from some countries when there's people just totally disregarding all the advice not to go out and do stuff. Yeah, now and again, good cats. I also see 1-star reviews where somebody clearly doesn't understand what the product is. I saw somebody leaving 1-star reviews of alkaline batteries on Amazon the other day because they blew up in somebody's battery charger. I think that face sums it up. It's like you shouldn't be allowed batteries and battery chargers if you stick regular alkaline batteries into regular rechargeable battery chargers. Dallas Med 65, a lot better today, thank you. I mean, I've had stomach problems today, but I think that's totally unrelated to all the flu symptoms I've had recently. So yeah, a lot better today, thank you. I didn't wake up, feeling dead or anything. Yeah, that's what they're doing in New York, isn't it, Yakov? That's quite a good policy, I think, doing a thing of... I think what restaurants could do is if they do stuff like, take out some of the tables they've got, so all the tables are more spaced out, I think that would work. But yeah, thank you, Sniper Sight. He said they need to start public information films again. I love the old public information films, like civil defense films, but sadly I doubt there's much of a market to do good ones now, and if they did them, I bet they'd be shit. They'd have to put some, dubsteppy auto-tuned music on it, and then they'd have to get some celebrity to do it because they wouldn't think anybody would watch it otherwise. No, yesterday they did a thing saying that it's like an advisory that they don't really stay open, but they're not enforcing it at the moment. Well, Audi, not the cars, Slavic PewDiePie, Audi, ALDI, as in Lidl, Audi and Lidl. Yep, Audi has pasta and that, but at the moment, flour, bread, pasta. But I think on a lot of those things, they're limiting it to 1 or 2 packets per person, so people can't buy out the lot and then resell them for loads of money. Okay, but wormwood is just a word. I don't get what you're getting at. How Audi is just VW. Audi is just a bit of the VW group. I don't know, Benjo. I can't tell you anything either way because I don't know if you've obviously got it or not or whatever. Just stay safe. Yeah, I've heard lots of politicians and media people saying stuff like that, Renzo. I mean, if you're somebody that's literally buying out a shop so you can resell it, yeah, that's selfish and greedy. But if you're literally like, oh, I better get some supplies in case I have to self-isolate, it's stupid, isn't it, how in some countries they're telling you, if you get ill, you need to self-isolate, or if you're in a vulnerable group, you need to self-isolate. But then if you want to stock up on toilet roll, you're greedy. Like, oh no, how dare somebody buy 2 months worth of toilet roll, even though the old people in this country now are being told that they might have to literally sit in their houses for 4 or 5 months. See you, Snake. I suppose broadcasting lessons on the TV isn't a bad idea, is it? Considering how much crap is normally on TV. People might learn something from that. I haven't done the video yet. masks and preps on the Polish one I need to get round to doing at some point. But otherwise, no, I've reviewed every mask that's arrived. Yep, you can, Casper. Let me add you. Thank you very much. There's still somebody yesterday who donated, got me to add them, but hasn't accepted the friend request yet. But let me add you yet. Yeah, get a bidot is what Hype's saying. But sadly, not many houses are built with those here. Right, let me add Jack Trash. There we go. Right. The Terapy is on 6.5 millisieverts now. So 3 years worth of background radiation, thereabouts. That makes sense then, masks and preps. If they're saying if you're buying this, you can only buy this many packets, that will probably mean why they're not selling out, because you can get a sensible amount for yourself for one shop. But a lot of shops are doing either per person or per family. You can only buy so much. I have no idea if Israel's having problems or not, although somebody who was Israeli said in one of the comments on one of the streams or videos that the issue was that Israel actually stopped issuing masks to civilians as of a couple of years ago, and that's where some of the problems came from. That they used to, do 4A1s and M15s, but now I think it's just military masks that are made, other than like where people can buy them privately. Yeah, good idea, Count Vlad. Especially if you've got like elderly neighbours or something, because they might not have anybody looking out for them. That's interesting, Olive. So Olive Brown says supermarkets met with governments and said they won't be able to supply all those self-isolating, even increasing from 7 to 14% of UK grocery shopping, and deliveries wait can be 2 weeks wait. So that's quite interesting, isn't it? I mean, it's not a good thing, but it's interesting that despite what they were saying like a week or two ago, that there was absolutely no supply issues whatsoever for supermarkets, there clearly is. Not anytime soon, masks and preps, but there's hundreds of videos like that on my channel if you look at them. Yeah, I can link here. It might even be in the description, but yeah, I mean, this isn't the Twitter one, but there's the one where you can just scroll down for a timeline. Sadly, not as far as I'm aware. We don't have any civil defence kind of stuff left in Britain, so yeah, there's no groups, as far as I'm aware, actually doing anything to help people, other than like charity type groups. Normally 8 to 9 p.m. UK time, Henry. Not always, but that's generally, if you're wanting to know the time, that's when I can most frequently do it, because it's when I'm least likely to get interrupted doing a stream. Right, I'm getting rid of the guy spamming crazy religious shit and the same stuff over and over again, because I'm just fed up of it. Fair enough. I mean, I might one day this week, Ben. It might be Thursday. I might do a stream during the week, at an earlier time, because now and then I do try and do streams for people in like other time zones. Because Thursday I normally volunteer, so I'm not back to the afternoon, but they've told me this Thursday, because I was ill last week, just to play it safe, don't come in this Thursday in case anybody gets infected. As much as somebody can be Salem's Cave, I think. If you're asking me, am I worried about supply issues? No. I think it was probably bad flu, Simon, because I didn't have enough kind of even, like mild pneumonia symptoms. But the problem is there's no way of being tested in the UK because they're only testing people in bad condition in hospital. See you, Richard. As I've said over and over again, British Empire, P3 filters do not run out. They just clog when they're overused. I think you've heard that enough times by now. In the US, I don't know St. Frost. Over here, because they're quite rare to get outside of the US, probably £100. Right, I'll check that out after the stream, Mike, before I go off. Well, I mean, I'll go off the stream, but I'll do that before I close YouTube, because otherwise I'll forget. I mean, there's always a seasonal flu, isn't there, QWERTY, at this time of year? But yeah, it's obviously quite confusing if you end up getting seasonal flu at the same time as there's like another virus going around. Yes, truth, love, and honour, but the only issue is with that the particle filter bit of carbon filters aren't as good. They're generally only P1 rated to keep like the carbon in, if that. I mean, if you have a combination filter, then yes, they're still good, because even when the charcoals run out, the P3 bit is still going to work. You'd have to look up Henry a particular model, because there's different models of like emergency, like escape hood type masks, some rated for different things. It might work, Gamer 85p. If it's a strong smell, then yes, I'd say so. Well, it's totally up to you. How much can you manage with your breathing resistance, British Empire? Are you on about GP5 filters, Johnny, or another type of filters, or Johnny? Because in World War II, they were actually serious about producing them and issuing them. Now, I think the idea is that costs money. Let's not bother. If you mean GP5 filters, I think they're probably AB2, E1, P2, probably, to take a guess, but there's no official guidelines on what they were. Not really. N95 is the US thing. P1 is the European thing. P2, P1, P2, P3, P1 and N95, P95 are the same rating. I don't know. I know Broken Arrow's like accidentally released nuclear device, as in like a nuclear bomber crashes with a nuclear bomb on board. But I don't know if there's a Broken Arrow thing for chemical weapons. I don't own an M2000. There was one point when they were about £100, and I didn't bother at that price. But if they're €200, I wouldn't pay that for one. EO14 filters probably contain asbestos, so eventually you might get asbestos in your lungs. As I've said over and over and over again, UVC is better at killing viruses and bacteria than UVB. UVC also kills your skin and eyes. So yeah, it's a question of, are you going to be in the room when you have it on? If you don't know, Michael, they just do not give a shit about the regular person. I don't think you should be under any sort of illusion that the government cares about you. They don't. Yeah, the main one I can think of is the sheep incident to do with chemical weapons, which was in the US when they had some, I think it was either VX or sarin, not finished spraying from a spray tank when a bomber left a firing range, and it ended up killing like 6,000 sheep across several fields. Yeah, good point, Chris. Yeah, because UVC creates ozone, which I think is a horrible smell, where some people like the smell of ozone. Yeah, UVC would be fine for a box because you're not going to be exposed to the light. But yeah, if somebody's on about like a ceiling light, do not put a UVC bulb in a ceiling light, especially if you're sat in the room with it in. Right, accumulated dose is about 8.1 millisieverts now. Yep, MK Ultra, Torfisk, and a load of other examples. I'm not totally tinfoil hat, I'm not going to say everything the government does is an evil kind of malicious thing, but I just think you ought to understand that the government probably does not give a shit about keeping you as an individual alive. They probably care if, like, their pensions or something are going to be hurt due to decisions, but they're not going to care about you as an individual. Cheers, Gretchen. Have a good evening. Or good afternoon, whatever time it is in the US. Okay, Discal. I don't know what your GP5 needs you to do, but okay. All right, little vamp. I'm only going to be on another 5 or so minutes, just for people wondering. But yeah, the numbers are still racing up on that Terapy. I just want to see if I can do something in a Terapy. I won't do it, obviously, holding it because of the risks of my hands. But what I want to see is if I get a couple of the bits of strontium, will it overload? Where it overloads, will it still keep counting even if it's overloaded? Will it count faster? Let's go to dose rate. I'll be back in a second. I'm just trying something. It's not actually as hot doing it like that. I suppose, I just thought of an easy way how I could do this. Hold it upside down and then put these strontium 90 coins on it. Right, I won't be able to read this, the chat at the moment, because obviously, or read the screen, because obviously I'm doing this upside down. But what I thought I'd do is just to check the numbers before the stream ends, to go up as high as possible. Assuming it doesn't completely cook out the tube, just literally putting the Terapy upside down so the tube's flat, putting all the strontium 90 sources pointing down onto it, to see how quickly it racks up the numbers. But once the tube overloads, it might just do it, at literally a rate of, who knows, like higher than 9999, but it might not obviously put real numbers on, because it's what they call overflow mode on the Geiger. Just Applix TV, let me add you. It doesn't like your name. Oh, hang on, I need to take the space out, don't I? There we go, it's working. Yep, that's very good, Lena, if it's in working order. Obviously, if it's a spares and repairs, that's an alright price. But yeah, if it's a working DP66 for everything in it, $30 is an amazing price. What do you drink in Milan? Do you mean what am I drinking? That's just cognac tonight, as in brandy. $1, Kronos Mythos or equivalent in any currency. I'm not too fussed. It's just mostly so you know, it's more of a perk for people who've donated. That would work, Infinity. Just bear in mind you don't want the ozone to build up, like a few people have said. What do you mean by it clicks, but the dial won't measure part of a certain point? As in the dial's broken, so it's physically counting, but the dial's broken, so it won't show a dose equivalent. Is that what you mean? That would work fine, Infinity. Yeah, probably just doesn't like your card or something, Planes, I don't know. Alright, dial's stuck. Yeah, well, if you have the speaker in it at least, you can hear based on the click rate how hot something is in that regard. Although, unless you're going to fix the screen at some point, I mean, $30 for that price, you can buy one of those, what's it, you know, like DIY Geigers. And, you know, for that price, that would be probably more efficient because you could, you know, it's a smaller package where you can count the clicks, but... Right, so you didn't realise that Blue Fire X that I've got a Model M? Can you put... Oh, it won't let you put a link to it, will it, in the chat? Sorry, Planes. Can you comment it on a video so I'll see it in the comments? Applix has a picture from a book I've got, weirdly. Like the Warsaw Pact military uniforms book, isn't it? Where it's got... or it might be you, I might have the Soviet one where it's got all the guys in Warsaw Pact NBC gear. That's interesting. I actually recognise that picture, Applix, and the art style. I can't go to your new channel on this from streaming, though, Planes, so you'd need to comment it on a video, not a stream. It was in the attic, so it didn't cost me anything, is the answer to that. It was the one we used to have on the old Windows 3.1 computer, to give you some idea of how old the keyboard is. It's as old as an old PC. As I already said, Planes can't go to it. You'll have to comment on a regular video of it. If your exhale valve's broken on an MP5, just literally pull the cover off for the exhale valve and replace the valve. It's literally prise a piece of plastic off. Yeah, I'll be off in a minute, so yeah, don't forget to like the stream before you're gone. Right, would somebody like to see what the Geiger counter says? Yeah, you donated, I remember. Let me add you now, and then I'll get the Geiger back out and we'll take a reading. Right, add friend. Once you've accepted that, I can invite you. I can actually hear the Geiger Muller tube buzzing from the count rate, even though I can't hear the clicks because I've turned the clicks off. That's quite funny. I don't know if people know that of Geiger counters, but if you listen very carefully and it's quiet enough, you can actually hear the tubes humming, and like almost the clicks without the speaker. Because in a lot of old Geigers, that's all they did. It's just a piezoelectric thing attached to the tube that makes the clicks, because they actually kind of click on their own anyway, just from the simple act of counting. Like, you know, you hear from the ionization account. Right. Let's let's have a look at the counter, because I got it upside down, bits of strontium on it. But right, let me put my hand like that so it doesn't all fall off. So we're at basically 9.6 millisieverts at this point. Brilliant. Right, let me put all the strontium 90 sources down. Bit of hype still on. This is the one that came with the DP63. What's the activity like on this one? I know it's not as hot as the other one. This is only like 1 millisievert. Look at that. That's not very hot, is it, compared to some of the strontium 90 sources? Only 1 millisievert. Cool. That little British one was quite hot that came in the what's it one? That's about 5.8 millisieverts. Yeah, none of them can compare to the Chinese source. Oh no, it can't read it anymore. What a shame. But yeah, if we go on mode, we're nearly at 10 millisieverts. We're nearly at 5 years of background radiation from an hour of this stream. So isn't that amazing? Oh look, I can actually get this to stick on there without me holding it. That's useful. Do you mean would U2 or Y2K masks work, these? If you had the P3 rated ones, yes. If you've got the really old ones that are P1 rated, probably not. Is my answer to that. Right, I'm going to be off in a second, but thank you to everybody that's donated and everything. I'll be streaming tomorrow, but it'll be in the evening again tomorrow, most likely. Thursday, I might stream in the afternoon. Almost died of fright, Titanal thought it was funny. Yeah. Compact Doomsday analog. That's a good question. Probably, actually. Certainly a bit smaller than the old British Doomsday meters. Certainly smaller than CDV 715s and 720s. As far as I'm aware, yes. Because it's smaller again than the Polish RS70s, which are Doomsday meters without even a meter on it. So yes, I reckon this is the smallest of the old types I have. If they'd put a GM tube inside the what's it called one? The portable dose rate meters, they might have been smaller, but because they had an ion chamber inside, they couldn't be. A Doomsday meter, Slavic, it's just like what I call the Geiger counters or ion chambers designed to measure, you know, hundreds of Rontgen kind of ranges of radiation. But yeah, so obviously if you have something that goes up to 200 Rontgen, that's pretty Doomsday-ish. Because you're only going to get Rontgen readings of that high if you're on a nuclear blast site or somebody spilt, you know, nuclear waste right next to you, or your nuclear power plant was blown up. Right. Anyway, thanks everybody. I'll be off. Thank you to everybody that donated. Until the batteries run out, I've put in that Terapy. I want to see, you know, just how much energy I can put into that GM tube. But yeah, thanks everybody, and I'll be off. So see you all. Goodbye.